For my project, I'm attempting to predict the future movement of individual stocks based on the transcripts of their earnings call Q&A sessions. Earnings calls consist of a company-prepared statement followed by a Q&A session with shareholders and analysts. Transcripts of these meetings may contain valuable information regarding investor sentiment towards a company, which may affect future stock movement. In the past, other researchers have attempted to predict future stock movement using the earnings call statements themselves. Others have tried to analyze tweets and use that to predict movement. Methods used by these researchers usually consist of some form of n-grams and/or word-to-vec. I will also start by using unigram features and then build from there. As seen here, the earnings call statement is much more formal and prepared compared to typical phrases uttered during a Q&A session. Q&A sessions also consist of the investors themselves speaking. As far as I have found, little to no research has been done that focuses on the Q&A section of the earnings call. I will focus my efforts here in an attempt to predict stock movement by uncovering the raw investor sentiment present in the Q&A session. My data consists of roughly 1 million entries of earnings call Q&A data from the last 5 years collected by the Computational Culture Lab. Each entry represents a sentence or string of sentences spoken by a single speaker during the session. Stock ticker info, date, etc. are also included. In total, this represents the full Q&A transcript of roughly 27,000 earnings calls. For each stock, I also collected its next day movement and its 30-day movement, making labels of 1 for up and 0 for down. That is, if a stock has an earnings call on June 1st, then its next day movement is defined as whether it closed on June 2nd higher than it opened on June 2nd. Its 30-day movement would be defined as whether it closed higher on July 1st than it opened on June 2nd. For my approach, I will clean and organize the data such that there is a single block of text for each Q&A session, roughly 27,000 entries. I will remove stop words, convert to lowercase, and extract unigram features, bigram features, and combine unigram-bigram features. I will run a logistic regression algorithm as a baseline, and also a multinomial naive Bayes algorithm since this model has performed well on similar tasks executed by other researchers. For my results, my baseline, where I ran a logistic regression with unigram features, the macro F1 score for next day prediction was 0.513, and the 30-day prediction was 0.5257. For a multinomial naive Bayes, the macro F1 score for next day prediction was 0.5225, and for 30-day prediction was 0.562. Now these results, while not exceptional, are quite good, especially for 30-day prediction. For the 30-day predictions, the true labels test set was pretty much evenly divided between 50% having gone up in reality and 50% having gone down in reality. Thus, to be making accurate predictions 56% of the time shows that the algorithm has actually gained a bit of an edge over the naive investor. Making predictions for next day movement is a much harder task, and it is not surprising that the results are not quite as good. The most important features for the baseline model are interesting. The ones for the next day prediction contain words like happier and inverse, which definitely conveys some sentiment. The ones for the 30-day prediction contain many words with negative connotations such as bottomed, lawsuits, countermeasures, breakup, underperform, so it makes sense that these words would represent investor sentiment, and in this case negative investor sentiment. The next steps are to explore bigram features and combinations of unigrams and bigrams. I'd also like to clean my data a bit more and use stemming. If I have time, I'd also like to add 10 features to each Q&A session representing aggregate scores calculated using the Lauren-McDonald lexicon. Now, this is a business lexicon that rates a word in 10 different categories such as positive, negative, uncertainty, constraining, etc. Assigning each Q&A session a score for each of these categories may provide more insight into the overall sentiment of the session. Thank you.